Hey everybody, what's up? Did you know that the heaviest pumpkin in the world weighed a staggering 2,702 pounds? That's heavier than a grand piano, and definitely not something you'd want rolling off your porch. That's right, in this video, we're going to show you how to grow some monster-sized cucumbers and pumpkins right in your backyard. We'll cover everything from picking the right spot to keeping those pesky bugs away. Welcome to the Don't Do This Guide, the place where we talk about what not to do, and of course, what to do. If you find this content helpful, smash that subscribe button and tap the like icon so you never miss more tips and tricks from the Don't Do This Guide. Now let's jump into the world of growing these delicious and versatile crops. So, why grow cucumbers and pumpkins at home when you can just buy them at the store? Well, there's nothing quite like biting into a crisp cucumber or carving a jack-o'-lantern from a pumpkin you grew yourself. Store-bought produce is often shipped hundreds of miles, losing flavor and nutrients. Growing your own ensures peak ripeness and freshness, making a huge difference in taste. Plus, a packet of seeds costs a few bucks, and you can get dozens of cucumbers or a couple of giant pumpkins from just one plant. Gardening is therapeutic, a great way to get outside, get your hands dirty, and connect with nature. Alright, so you're ready to channel your inner green thumb? Awesome! But before we get our hands dirty, let's talk about how to set your plants up for success. Cucumbers and pumpkins need nutrient-rich soil to thrive. You can buy pre-mixed potting soil or make your own by combining compost, peat moss, and vermiculite. Both cucumbers and pumpkins love basking in the sun, so choose a spot that gets at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight each day. If you're short on space, you can still grow these guys in containers on a sunny balcony or patio. Make sure containers are big enough. At least a 5-gallon container for cucumbers and a 10-gallon or larger container for pumpkins. This setup will give your plants the nutrients and space they need to grow big and strong. Now, let's talk seeds. There are tons of different varieties of cucumbers and pumpkins out there, so it's worth doing a little research to find ones that suit your taste and growing conditions. For cucumbers, you've got your classic slicing cucumbers, perfect for salads and sandwiches, and pickling cucumbers, ideal for, you guessed it, pickles. Pumpkin-wise, you can go for the classic orange carving pumpkins, or try some smaller sugar pumpkins, perfect for pies and other recipes. Once you've chosen your seeds, start them indoors in seed trays a few weeks before the last frost, or direct sow them into the garden after the danger of frost has passed. Okay, so you've got your seedlings all ready to go. It's time to give them a new home. When it comes to transplanting, timing is key. Wait until the soil temperature reaches a consistent 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Before you transplant your seedlings, harden them off by gradually introducing them to the outdoors over a week. When you're ready to transplant, choose a cloudy day or late afternoon to minimize stress on the plants. Dig a hole slightly larger than the root ball of the seedling, and gently loosen the roots before placing it in the hole. Fill in the hole with soil, water deeply, and add a layer of mulch around the base of the plant to help retain moisture and suppress weeds. Now that your plants are settled in, it's time to talk about ongoing care. First up, water. Cucumbers and pumpkins are both thirsty plants, so you'll need to water them regularly, especially during hot, dry weather. A good rule of thumb is to water deeply once or twice a week, making sure the water penetrates the soil to reach the roots. Next, let's talk fertilizer. To grow big and strong, they need a steady supply of nutrients. Use a balanced, slow-release fertilizer, or side dress your plants with compost or aged manure every few weeks. Finally, let's talk about mulch. Mulch helps to retain moisture, regulate soil temperature, and suppress weeds. You can use straw, shredded bark, or even grass clippings as mulch. Just make sure to keep it a few inches away from the base of the plants to prevent rot. With these 3 steps, your plants will be well on their way to a bountiful harvest. To trellis or not to trellis? That is the question. Cucumbers and pumpkins can get pretty sprawling, especially if you're growing the vining varieties. Trellising is like giving your plants a little scaffolding to climb on. This not only saves space, but also improves air circulation, which can help prevent diseases. For cucumbers, you can use a vertical trellis, like a fence, netting, or even bamboo poles tied together. For pumpkins, you can use a sturdy trellis or let them sprawl along the ground. Just make sure to give them plenty of space to roam. Whether you're trellising or letting them sprawl, make sure to space your plants adequately. The birds and the bees and your plants, a guide to pollination. Pollination is crucial for producing those delicious fruits we all love. Cucumbers and pumpkins both have separate male and female flowers on the same plant. The male flowers produce pollen, which needs to be transferred to the female flowers for fertilization. Bees are natural pollinators, and they love to visit cucumber and pumpkin flowers. As they buzz from flower to flower, they transfer pollen, helping to fertilize the plants. But sometimes, there aren't enough bees around, or the weather isn't cooperating. That's where hand pollination comes in handy. To hand pollinate, simply take a small paintbrush or cotton swab and gently collect pollen from the male flowers. Then, transfer the pollen to the stigma, which is the sticky part in the center of the female flower. Let's talk about those pesky, uninvited guests that can wreak havoc on your cucumber and pumpkin plants, pests, and diseases. One of the most common pests that plague cucumbers and pumpkins is the cucumber beetle. These little guys are easy to spot with their yellow stripes or spots. Another common culprit is the squash bug. These shield-shaped bugs suck sap from the leaves, causing them to wilt and turn yellow. To control these pests, you can hand-pick the bugs and squash them, or use insecticidal soap or neem oil. As for diseases, powdery mildew is a common one that affects cucumbers and pumpkins. It looks like a white powdery coating on the leaves, and it can weaken the plants and reduce yield. To prevent powdery mildew, make sure your plants have good air circulation and avoid overhead watering. With a little vigilance and some natural remedies, you can keep these troublemakers at bay. All right, folks, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. Harvest time. After weeks of tending to your plants, it's time to reap the delicious rewards of your hard work. When it comes to cucumbers, you can start harvesting them when they're about 6 to 8 inches long and still firm. Don't let them get too big, or they'll become bitter and seedy. To harvest, simply cut the cucumber from the vine, leaving about an inch of stem attached. Pumpkins take a bit longer to mature. You'll know they're ready to harvest when the skin is hard and the stem starts to dry out. To harvest, cut the pumpkin from the vine, leaving about 4 to 6 inches of stem attached. This helps prevent rot. So, you've harvested a bumper crop of cucumbers and pumpkins. Now what? Cucumbers are incredibly versatile. You can eat them fresh in salads, sandwiches, and dips. You can pickle them, ferment them, or even juice them. Pumpkins are equally versatile. You can carve them into jack-o'-lanterns for Halloween. Pumpkin puree is a staple ingredient in pies, breads, and soups. Roasted pumpkin seeds make a delicious and nutritious snack. To store cucumbers, keep them in the refrigerator, where they'll last for about a week. Pumpkins can be stored in a cool, dry place for several months. All right, before we wrap things up, let's go over some common mistakes to avoid when growing cucumbers and pumpkins. First up, don't overcrowd your plants. Overcrowding can lead to poor air circulation, which can increase the risk of diseases. Second, don't overwater or underwater your plants. Both extremes can be detrimental to their health. Third, don't ignore pests and diseases. Early detection is key to preventing widespread infestations and infections. Fourth, don't forget to fertilize. Cucumbers and pumpkins are heavy feeders, so they need regular fertilization to produce a bountiful harvest. And finally, don't be afraid to experiment. Gardening is all about trial and error. Try new varieties, techniques, or even companion planting methods. By avoiding these common mistakes, you'll set yourself up for a successful harvest. And there you have it, folks. Everything you need to know to grow your own cucumbers and pumpkins right at home. If you found any value in this content, consider hitting that subscribe button to join our growing community on the Don't Do This guide. Give us a like to let us know we're helping you out. And if you have any questions or your own tips to share, drop them in the comments below. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, the biggest step in gardening is simply getting started. So why not start today?